I'm Max Sterling, welcome to LarpGasm. This event that I'm at, I'm actually NPCing, which is why I'm wearing this black outfit. But I've always been curious how far I walk when I NPC. So I brought this little fitbit that I have along with me so I can record my steps and see how far I actually walk. Now, I've actually already done this once as my PC character. So I know how far I walk as a PC, but I believe I walk a lot more as an NPC. So I want to see how far exactly I walk when I'm NPCing. And I can tell you I walked a significant distance on my PC shift. So NPCing, I think it's going to be a very high number in the next 2 days. Now I've already had this on a little bit today, so it already shows I'm at 1514. And I've just been wearing it sort of while I got ready and stuff. So later, I mean, we can deduct that 1514 from the total or leave it mixed in there since it's sort of getting ready and getting up here. I don't care either way. That 1514 isn't going to make a difference because I'm going to have a lot of steps on here. Now, it is kind of overcast and dreary out and rainy, so that may limit the steps that I would normally take. However, I'm going to see, if I can get, as many as I can in, without going out of my way to get additional steps, just sort of what I would naturally acquire while doing my shift. So we're going to go ahead and get started and see exactly how far I walk. And of course, I encourage anyone else to give this a try. So I'm back from my event and I'm looking at the numbers here and I'm excited to sort of let you know what the results are. But I need to preface this by saying that the game I play is a medieval genre, standard American style boffer LARP. So it's not parlor LARP or just, combat or something like that. It's very much like Dungeons and Dragons brought to life. You walk around, usually in a group. There's people wandering around dressed as monsters that you can encounter. There's structured stories that you can get involved on. People come into town and tell you that you need to go save someone or whatever, and you get hired to do jobs. Or you can go out and just sort of make your own adventure. There's PC-driven interactions and so on and so forth. But it's very much just like D&D brought to life. And of course, you walk around with boffer swords, and you wear armor and costumes and so on and so forth. Where I live, here in Penn's Woods, yeah, it's very hilly, often mountainous terrain, slippery. There's a lot of ledges and all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's not like just walking back and forth across the battlefield on flat, level, mowed grass. It's very much like hiking most of the time. And it's walking on uneven ground, gravel, cliff sides, so on and so forth. A lot of hill climbing, descending. Sucks. A lot of poison ivy, all kinds of other stuff, So this, when I look at this and I see how many steps I took, it's not just like running on a treadmill. But basically what it broke down to is when I PC'd, now in this game you would be your player character an entire weekend, and then a different weekend you'll be a non-player character set up. We don't do shift work or, one day you're PC, the next day you're an NPC. It's just the whole weekend you're your player character, or another weekend, the whole weekend, your non-player character. So for my PC weekend, what I found was I had somewhere around 56,000 steps. And what that comes out to me is right around, and I'm rounding down to the lowest sort of like whole number, is right about 27 miles. So I was surprised to find that as my player character, I walked 27 miles in 2 days. And really, it's more like a day and a half. It's one day that's like 8 or 9 until 2 a.m. And the next day is usually around maybe like 11 a.m. to midnight. So basically in that short of a period of time, I covered 27 miles. Now, that's also not all just walking either. A lot of that is fancy footwork while you're fighting, walking up and down steps in forts and castles and things. So, like I said, those steps, each one of them is a heck of a lot more probably than just a regular step, across your office or something. Now on my NPC rotation, I was actually surprised to find I walked less. Now when I NPC, I don't run a lot of stories, but I do a lot of the wandering random encounters. So essentially, I grab a crew, grab some loot, and we walk the whole weekend. And that's why I thought for my NPC shift, I would have a heck of a lot more steps. But as it turns out, I didn't. I actually came in a little bit less, and I would say that I came in around about 24 miles on my NPC shift, according to my chart that I'm looking at here. So it's interesting. Now, it's not a lot less, but it's 3 miles less. So I thought that that was interesting, and the only thing I could attribute that to is that when I'm piecing, I'm usually myself or in a small group. You know, we haul butt walking around looking for treasure chests and monsters and things. We don't do a lot of bickering. We walk, we cruise, we do our thing. Most of our downtime is spent searching bodies, counting loot, you know, or role playing. But most of our role playing is done just back and forth as we're walking. We don't really sit down, eat meals, or anything like that, and spend hours just chatting. We're usually adventuring, trying to earn coin and reputation. When I NPC, a lot of time is spent waiting, you know, in queue or line for things to happen, walking around, getting into many more battles, because when I'm piecing, you know, I have to rely on finding things to do, but when I'm NPCing, I'm actively searching for fights, basically, most of the time. And I feel like because of that, there's a lot more downtime spent getting searched, paying out loot, interacting with people, a lot more talking. Even though there is a lot more walking involved, at least I thought, there's a lot more downtime doing, I guess, the administrative type of duties. So I think that that's why on an NPC shift I had less steps, but really I found that very interesting. I thought that when I PC'd, my number would be significantly lower than NPCing, and it was just the opposite of what I thought. However, both of these numbers is a lot greater than I thought it would be based on how far I walk. I thought maybe I'd be around 10 or 15 miles. To see, you know, around 27 miles for a PC event in 2 days, that's a lot. Now, some of you out there may say, well, I run 5 miles every morning, Max, you're a fat fuck. Well, that's great for you. But most people don't do that. And a lot of times gamer people really don't do stuff like that. So I think for a normal person to cover 27 miles in basically 17 hours, you know, that's a lot. And over uneven terrain, and like I said, most of those steps are, you know, fancy footwork during fighting, uphills, downhills. It's not just all level ground. So I think that's very interesting. And if you have one of these, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I would challenge you to give it a shot. You know, they're not genre, but if you wear long sleeves, no one would ever even know you have this on you. Now, if it's an app on your phone, I mean, you have to carry your phone on you. But if you already carry your phone, just turn it on and run it. For me, this just records it all and then I sync it to the phone, so I don't have to carry this. I just, you know, keep this concealed on my wrist. And, you know, to me, it was really awesome to see how far I actually walk, because it was always something I was curious about, because I know I walk tons at these events, and to now know how far exactly I cover, to me that's just amazing. And we have some events that are more than 2 days, or basically more than a Friday night and a Saturday. Some also include a Sunday. So those events, when I have them, I could only imagine adding another, what, probably 10 miles or so onto that number. So in a Friday, Saturday, Sunday scenario, I probably walk almost 40 miles. That's crazy to me to think that I walk that much in full leather armor, all black, in the middle of summer when it's 90 degrees, with countless other pounds of gear on, you know, the swords, the cloak, everything else I'm carrying, in basically, you know, work boots. It's just, it's really interesting to me to know that I have that sort of stamina and fortitude, and that I find this to be amusing and call it a game. But I guess we all sort of do that. If you do wear one of these and you check out and see how far you've gone, be sure to leave a comment down below. I'd love to know what your numbers were, and also, you know, just sort of see what other people do. And I know not all games are the same. You know, parlor LARPs, stuff like that are going to be a lot different. But I'd really be curious to see sort of what your numbers are. So if you do this, please leave a comment. Get me on Instagram or something. Let me know what type of game you play, how far you made it, you know, in maybe 1 day or 2 days, or break it down hourly or whatever, because I'd really love to sort of know what other people are out there doing, and if their games are, you know, really as, you know, physically demanding as all that walking that we do at some of our LARPs. So anyways, I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, please click like, please subscribe to the channel, of course, share with all your friends, let everyone know that I'm making these videos here, trying to do some different things than other people, and of course, as always, adventure on. Man, fuck a Hobbit. I would have made it to Mount Doom in like 2 days flat. Fucking plebs.